Hey there, Blazer fans, and welcome to episode 37 of The Dragon's Den, a podcast for those that bleed green and gold. Today, The Dragon's Den is going international for the first time. I have one of my favorite players from my childhood, and I'm sure he was a favorite for many of you as well, Mr. Paul Delaney III. Paul is currently playing basketball overseas in Israel. I hope you guys like the episode. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, Blazer fans, I've got my next guest here for episode 37 of The Dragon's Den, a guard from Decatur, Georgia, Mr. Paul Delaney III. Paul, how you doing tonight?
Oh man, I'm doing awesome. How you doing, Mr. Will?
Doing great, man. I was talking with you just before we got started on the recording that, growing up, you were one of my favorite players. I was the ball boy for the basketball team during your era. So it's awesome to get to know you a little bit better, but I can't wait to get into it.
Oh man, like I told you, man, that's big time. I'm honored to hear that. I'm also honored to be here on the show. Let's get it started.
All right. Well, just to refamiliarize you or my listeners with you again, you were, like I said, you're from Decatur, Georgia. You went to Chamblee High School. You were one of the top 10 players in the state of Georgia, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, in your senior year of high school, and you earned Nike All-American honors in your senior year in 2003. What schools were recruiting you out of high school, and what made you choose UAB?
Well, coming out, I had a lot of schools coming out my junior year. I had like Kentucky, Tennessee, Clemson, Florida, Marshall, Nebraska, and some more, to just to name the ones off the top of my head. At a point in time, I went to the Nike All-American camp, and then I got injured right before the circuit started, the AAU circuit going into my senior year. So I wasn't able to really, play to my full potential. And so then a couple of teams started to kind of drop off, Clemson, Georgia Tech, UGA. But, UAB, Coach Edgar, that was my guy. Coach Edgar, he came to a game, he saw me, and, he talked to me and kind of offered me right there, And from that point, the relationship that I had with Coach Edgar, then going down to Birmingham, seeing the city, it was close to home, seeing, the little family affair that was going on down there. UAB was on the rise. I looked them up. I liked their style of play. So for me, UAB was a great option. It was either UAB or Marshall. And then in Marshall, too far.
So your senior year of high school, you kind of mentioned it just a second ago, but UAB was the Cinderella team in the NCAA tournament, reaching the Sweet 16. Had you already committed before that run, and how fast did that make you want to come play at Bartow?
Yes, I did commit before the run. I signed in the early period, committed in the early period. And, it was even more exciting because, I remember I was at school, when the games were going on, I was talking trash, yeah, I'm going to UAB, we're on the rise, this, that, and the third. So it was an exciting point.
Your first year at UAB, you played in 28 games coming off the bench. UAB did just enough to make the NCAA tournament as an at-large team. You played LSU in Boise, who was led by future NBA player Glenn Big Baby Davis. What was that game like for you as a freshman?
Oh man, it was big. I remember the lights, the crowd. You reading about all these guys that had Big Baby. They also had who else they had on that team? Mitchell, I believe. I forgot also the guards. So, they had a talented squad. So for me to be able to step on the floor and get minutes, it was big time. It was a pinnacle of the career,
UAB went on to face Arizona in the next round, but were beat 85-63. Your second season for UAB had a similar feeling. UAB had some big wins to start that season against Oklahoma State, at Nebraska, VCU, and Memphis in conference play. UAB managed to make it to the Conference USA Championship before falling to host Memphis. UAB did manage to make the NCAA tournament again, facing Kentucky again. This time it wasn't so lucky, 69-64 loss. But what was the feeling like in the locker room after coming up just short in the Conference USA title game, falling to Kentucky, and then the rumors of Mike Anderson leaving?
Well, I guess like you said, it was a little bit of tough, a little bit of everything. We fought hard to make it. So at one point we was, ecstatic to enjoy the journey. But then to get there and to be so close to beat Kentucky, it's heartbreaking for, especially the guys who final year. That's a tough way to go out. And then, like you said, to be honest, I didn't really hear the rumors until afterwards. When Wynn told me he saw it on Sports Center, so they kind of kept it hush hush from everybody until, it broke across and everybody found out, I think, at the same time.
Well, in 2006 and 2007, your junior season, you had arguably your biggest performance of your career with a 32-point performance and a rematch game against Wyoming at home. What do you remember from that game?
From Wyoming?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that's a story in itself, to be honest. So what happened was, we went up to Wyoming before then.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they beat us.
Mm-hmm. I think it was close. It was close. I know that much.
Yeah, close, but I believe they beat us. So then we came back to Birmingham. And, I went to go get my haircut down off 3rd Avenue, downtown Birmingham. And lo and behold, guess who goes to get the haircut? Brandon Ewing. At the same place. So, of course he's in there. And of course, I got a couple of people in there on our side. And they're talking trash and this and that. He said, oh, yeah, we're going to beat them. Da, da, da. I'm going to have 30. Da, 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 da. So I come in to get my haircut. And, I'm just hearing an earful of it. Yeah, this boy named Brandon Ewing from Wyoming. Yeah, he said he's going to come in and trash y'all. So, and the rest is history, Like I said, the game came down, so it's a little extra motivation to really let them know whose city it was,
Your junior season was a tough year for the Blazers, going 15 and 16. It was a big transition year, though, because the season before you lost Squeaky Johnson, Marvette McDonald, Demario Edens, Richard Jones, Derek Broom, and Brandon Tobias. You also had new coach Mike Davis. What was it like getting used to a new roster and a new coaching style?
It was tough because, like I said, everybody was new. The chemistry was new. Nobody really played together on the floor. People had different, aspirations. They had different thoughts of how the season was going to go, how they were going to be utilized. And then Coach Davis came in and, it was kind of different from what a lot of people thought. So then, like I said, it was just tough, There's nothing else to really say. We had a lot of, people who came in who couldn't play, scholarship players who end up leaving, transferring, so it was a tough transition that year.
Well, despite the rough season, you started to shine on offense and defense, scoring 481 points that season and being named to the Conference USA All Defensive Team, and you were first team All Conference USA. You started all 31 games that season. What was it like to finally start consistently and prove you can handle the pressure of being a leader on a new roster?
For me personally, it was great. I really enjoyed it. For me, it was, nothing really new. I was just waiting for that time. And of course, like you said, previously we had a lot of great guards there before me. Squeaky Johnson, the Twins, Marvette, like you said, Richard, Broom, so it was tough to, as a young boy, to really get on. So that junior year, everything kind of lined up in my favor.
Well, in 2007 and 2008, what would have been your senior season, you went down with a knee injury against Georgia Southern in the 4th game of the regular season. What was going through your mind after the injury?
That's over. The season's over. But then they told me a couple of days afterwards that they're going to apply for the medical red shirt, and we think you should be able to get it. So once I heard that, it went from kind of feeling sorry to like, okay, cool. I still have another year. So let's get back to work. Let's get to the drawing board. Let's, make sure that I can come back better than where I was.
Well, your medical redshirt was accepted, and you did come back for the 2008-2009 season, and you came back with a vengeance. One of the craziest games I've ever watched on TV, and one of the craziest games I'm sure a lot of Blazer faithful really remember well, happened early in that season in the NIT season tip-off against Arizona. UAB led for a good bit of that game, but Arizona came back and tied it in the final 30 seconds. Walk my listeners through the final, minute to 30 seconds of that game, or what was it from your perspective?
Oh man, I can't remember too much, but one thing I do remember was Terrence Rogers. I remember he stepped up and hit a big time three. I remember that. And from there, we got the stop, and then they had to foul. So the only thing was just to make sure that I keep the ball in my hands.
Well, I was, I was shocked that the Arizona player fouled you. If I'm remembering correctly, it was tied. I thought it was tied, but he fouled you on that full court heave near the end, and I think even the commentators on ESPN were shocked. But could you believe he tried to foul you? And what was the pressure like going down and trying to shoot those last free throws with nobody around you on the floor?
There you go. I appreciate you rejogging my memory. So that's for number one. I appreciate that, Mr. Harris. But yeah, I remember exactly. I got it, and it was actually, I believe we were down one. Were we down one?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember now.
Like you said, or it was tied. But all I remember is he was right behind me, and as I go to shoot it, he reaches out to grab me, and I shoot it, and all I hear is free throws. I'm like, what? Like, did he really just make that mistake? And like you said, from there, in those type of moments, the only thing you can really think about is you don't want to be that guy. This is what you work hard for. Mm-hmm. This is the time to, to win the game. And, just breathe and focus. And that's it. Just be able to go home and celebrate.
Well, you did sink those free throws, and UAB won in a crazy ending to that game. And after defeating Arizona, UAB beat Old Dominion to advance to the Final Four of that NIT season tip-off. Went on to face Oklahoma, who was led by Blake Griffin, and Boston College in Madison Square Garden in New York City. What was it like playing against these teams in that historic arena?
Well, I didn't play against Boston College. I had an injury to my foot, so that game I did not.
Okay.
Oklahoma, oh man, it was great. Madison Square, it's an arena, nothing like I had seen before. The way that the lights are really center stage, the crowd is really off in the dark. Going against Blake Griffin, his brother, future, top pick. It was just an amazing feeling. It's something that you really can't describe. Because, like I say, even just being in Madison Square Garden, walking through the tunnels and seeing the photos, and it was a great experience.
The UAB had a very talented roster that season that included you, Aaron Johnson, Lawrence Kennard, Robert Vaden, Channing Toney, Howard Crawford, Elijah Millsap, Cameron Moore, Ed Barrios, and Mike Jones. Did you feel like all the pieces were coming back together for a special season in your final year?
I did. But like I said again, unfortunately, some of the guys, didn't have the seasons that they wanted. A little bit of turmoil. And the last season, I think we ended up with only 6 players with scholarship. So, like I said, it felt like all the pieces were there. But like I said, as the season went along, it kind of got a little tougher. And it kind of showed also down the stretch, because I think we went through a stretch where we lost maybe like 2 in a row coming down, especially down in UTEP, that, we felt like would have got us into the NCAA.
You had several clutch shots and performances in your senior season and across your career total, but In that season, you had free throws to beat Arizona, as we mentioned. You had 2 free throws late to beat USF in non-conference play, and 2 big shots against Southern Miss in the Conference USA quarterfinals that included a game-tying 3 to send it to overtime and a buzzer-beating layup for the win. Did you like to have the ball in your hands in the final seconds, or would you rather have that pressure on someone else?
And you're also forgetting about Cincinnati. That's
Oh, yeah.
Cincinnati.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Down 8 points, I think with like 45 seconds left, something like that. But, of course, I think as a leader, as a player, you want to have the ball in your hands. That's what you, as a young boy, I think everybody does it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and then you shoot at the last second, just to get that feel of or even out of the crowd. For me, it's especially on the road, it's no better feeling than silencing the home crowd. So to answer your question, yeah, I love to have the ball in my hands at the end.
You also had only the second triple-double in UAB history with a 16-point, 12 assist, and 10 rebound performance against Tulane in February of that season. Did you know you had a triple-double before the game ended?
Yeah, I did. I ain't gonna lie. When I came out, they subbed me and it was like, Paul, you got 9 rebounds. Like, you need one more for a triple-double. So then, they put me right back in the game and I was able to get the last rebound. That's, like I said, that's something that you can't really compare to be a person in school history to record a triple-double, the first guard. Nobody else has done it. That's something that I can say that'll be in the record books forever. You have your points, you have your rebounds, you have your assists, but in a single game to be able to record a triple-double, I stand proud on that.
Well, your senior season ended in an NIT loss at Notre Dame. Looking back on it, how do you feel about your career at UAB overall?
Overall, I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was unfortunate that, I guess, the transition that happened when it happened, and then after that, like I said, we had people coming in who wasn't able to play, Jeremy Mayfield, I forgot the other little guard name, man, but like I said, to come down in our senior year and we only have 6 scholarship players with, no real bigs, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I enjoy my career and also enjoy Birmingham. I think that was also the best thing. Not also was it fun on the court, but outside of the court, the actual city, the actual school, the environment, it made it worth it. Even during the rough seasons, people always showed love. It wasn't, never any hate from the fans or, things like that. It was always love and fun. So, yeah, I wouldn't trade it in.
Well, since your time at UAB, you've been kind of all over the place. You started playing professional basketball in Israel. Then you went to Russia, Ukraine, France, and now you're back playing in Israel. What has it been like playing overseas?
It's been a joy, but it's also been a curse. It's a joy because, you get to travel. Like, I've seen so many places in the world. It's unbelievable. Places I never thought I would be, the sights that you see, the people that you meet, the relationships that you make. But at the same time, it has its tough days because you're missing everything that's back home. Weddings, graduations, births. You don't really, for 9 months out the year, you away from the family. You kind of isolated only with your team. You have going out, which is fun, but like I said, to a certain extent. But like I said, living overseas has been wonderful. Russia was very nice, cold. Ukraine was a little crazy because I was there during the invasion of Crimea. Mm-hmm. So then I saw all the tanks and the fighting and the Kiev on fire, Odessa on fire. So that was a crazy experience, but it was a fun experience. Um, France. France was off the chain, long distance. You always have to travel long, and the culture is a little stingy, man. They're a little. It's almost like on TV, but it's crazy because after every game, you have to wear a suit and basically go to like a banquet for like the VIP members. Winner every home game, no matter if you lose by 30, you win, you always have to play and they give you a suit. Yeah, they give you a suit. You go, you get, fitted and everything, get your size. But every game you have to go to a banquet, full of I'd say about 200, 300 of the, yeah.
Wow.
Every game.
So you might have answered it just now, but what do you think you've learned the most from playing overseas?
The most? That's a tough question. I would have to say the value of happiness. I would have to say, because you can over here you can go through bad parts in the season, or you can go through a loss. Like right now, one of my teammates, he lost his grandmother overseas. So you go through so many things where it's like you really have to have pure happiness in order to have a long career, because not everybody can really last as far as playing overseas for 10, 12, 13, even living overseas. Some people give it 3 years and it's like, it's not for me. I need to go get a job back home. I need to go coach or something. So I think that's what I probably learned the most, is the value of pure happiness.
Okay. So how is life now?
Life is great. I got 2 boys, Paul the fourth and David. I have a lovely wife. I coach kids over here. They're probably equivalent to 10th grade, 10th, 11th grade.
Okay.
And I'm also playing in the second division now with a team called Maccabi Ramadan. And right now we're in the finals of the, second division championship. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so the next game is Tuesday. We're down 0-1. But it'll be all right.
Get that win back, Paul. Come on now. You got it. You got it. I got faith in you.
It's okay, man. It's only one game, man.
Well, how can my listeners engage with you now?
Well, I have the Instagram, Mr. International _LBG. I also got Facebook, Paul Delaney III. I think I got a picture of my son up there. Other than that, that's how I really am around. Outside of that, I don't really have too much time because I'm always at home. Like I said, from coaching, from dropping the kids off in the morning, picking them up from school, going to practice myself, going to the games, So I really, at this point in time, don't really have much time for social media. But if anybody wants to reach out or have any questions or just want to say what's up, hit me on Instagram, hit me on Facebook, and I'll be more than happy. It's a pleasure.
Oh, well, Paul, I've got one final thing for you here. It's some lighthearted questions. I'm going to give you some just rapid fire. All right. Give me the first answer that comes to your head. Okay.
Okay.
All right. They're all kind of about your playing overseas. So here we go. All right. First question. Which location had the best food?
Israel.
All right. Which location has the best scenery?
Russia.
Okay. Which location has the best entertainment? And that can be nightlife, things to do.
Israel.
Okay. Which location has what?
Israel and Moscow.
Okay. Which location has the best atmospheres at games?
France.
Okay. And which location has the toughest teams to play against?
Russia.
Really? Okay. All right.
No, Russia. You have like 4 teams in the Euro League. 3 teams in the Euro Cup. It's a challenging league.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, Paul, I really appreciate it, man. It's great getting to see you again. I enjoyed watching you on the floor when you were here for UAB, and I know all the Blazer faithful is rooting for you. We loved your time at UAB, and we are supporting you over there in Israel right now. And hope you get that some more championships. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me, man. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Go Blazers.
Go Blazers.
All right. I want to thank Paul so much for his time, especially with the 8-hour time difference over in Israel. It was a pleasure getting to talk to him and getting to know him a little bit better. So, Paul, thank you so much for all you did as a Blazer, and Blazer Nation is definitely cheering for you as you continue your professional career over in Israel and overseas. Now we will go ahead and dive into another This Week in Blazer History segment. In this episode segment, I will be covering birthdays from May 16th through May 29th because I won't have an episode next week. But for the university notable events, I will be covering events from all of May. I'll give some quick birthday shout outs once again from May 16th through May 29th. On May 16th, born in 1989, former UAB men's basketball player Alexander Scotland Williamson. No notable birthdays on May 17th. May 18th, born in 1987, former UAB football kicker Swayze Waters. No notable birthdays May 19th. May 20th, born in 1999, recent UAB softball infielder and graduate Jolie Rideau. Happy birthday, Jolie. May 21st, born in 1976, former UAB men's basketball player Predrag Savovich. And also born on May 21st in 2000, current UAB football defensive lineman Fish McWilliams. No notable birthdays for May 22nd or 23rd, but May 24th has a couple. Born in 1979, former UAB men's basketball player Myron Ransom. And in 1999, another former men's basketball player, Casey Whitaker. May 25th, born in 1994, former UAB football defensive back, D.A. Williams. May 26th, born in 1992, former UAB football linebacker, Tevin Cruz. And May 27th, the recent UAB football running back, Larry Wooden, was born in 1999. And on May 28th, born in 1988, former men's basketball player, Howard Crawford. And also sharing his birthday, former UAB men's basketball player, Kasim Nicholson. Happy birthday, Kasim and Howard. And finally, May 29th, born in 1995, former UAB men's basketball forward, Lewis Sullivan. Happy birthday to all the former Blazers. And now some all-time events that have happened in the university's history. I'll start by earlier year instead of dates. So in 1971, a groundbreaking ceremony was held for two buildings on UAB's campus, what is now the Humanities Building and the Stern Library. On May 11th of 1973, a tornado struck downtown Birmingham in the area of 6th Avenue North. While UAB was not in the storm's direct path, the university campus was affected by the storm. A tree fell on a portion of the gymnasium at the Ullman Bell, and several buildings had roof damage. May 17th of 1982, Wanda Hightower Jordan became the first UAB athlete to have a jersey retired. A member of the 1978 to 1982 women's basketball team, she scored 2,854 career points and had gained 1,091 career rebounds, and she was a delightful guest for me on the podcast. May of 1986, upon the retirement of Harry the Hat Walker, UAB's legendary baseball coach, assistant coach Pete Rancott was named as the second head coach of the men's baseball program. May 19th of 1988, UAB Arena was dedicated. May 17th of 1991, the University Center was renamed and rededicated as the Hill University Center in honor of UAB's second president, Dr. S. Richardson Hill Jr. One day later, May 18th of 1991, UAB baseball won the Sun Belt Conference tournament over Old Dominion. In the NCAA tournament, UAB lost to Texas, defeated Rutgers, but then fell to Oklahoma State to end the season. The win over Rutgers still stands as the only NCAA tournament win in the baseball program's history. May 6th of 1992, UAB unveiled new office space for the Blazer football coaches and staff in the section of Birmingham's Legion Field. The university and the city worked together to provide the program its first official office space. The space at Legion Field would be used for 3 years until the football operations were moved to an on-campus site. On May 1st of 2005, the UAB Campus Rec Center opened. May 27th of 2012, UAB defeated Memphis to win the Conference USA baseball tournament and advance to the NCAA tournament. May 19th of 2013, UAB's softball team defeated UCLA in the NCAA tournament regional round to advance to the NCAA tournament super regional. On May 5th of 2015, UAB officially introduced Mark Ingram as the university's fifth director of athletics. Ingram, who played football for the Tennessee Volunteers, came to UAB from Temple University. May 9th of 2017, a record crowd of 5,344 saw the UAB Blazers baseball team defeat the number 14th ranked Auburn Tigers 8-2 in a game at Regents Field. And in May of 2017, Dr. Sean Murray became the director of bands, including the UAB Marching Blazers. And that's going to do it for This Week in Blazer History and episode 37. I hope you all enjoyed. Before I go, make sure you're following my social pages at Dragons Den EFEL on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Good night, and go Blazers.